From a massive flood in Pakistan that nearly destroyed this stone bridge, and a wild windstorm in China that swept these railroad travelers off their feet, to a terrifying earthquake in Japan that rattled this entire office building, and an unbelievable dust tsunami in India that quickly turned day into night. Here are 15 shocking moments of Mother Nature's fury. New Year's Day of 2024 went off with a bang in Japan. In the early evening, around 4 p.m., a 7.5 magnitude earthquake struck near the northern coast of the Noto Peninsula, making it the strongest quake to hit the Ishikawa prefecture since 1885. Because New Year's Day is a national holiday in Japan, many people were at home with their families when the earthquake struck. Of course, some people still had to go to work, like this man who was trapped in his office when the whole building began shaking. According to the Japanese government, the estimated damage cost between Ishikawa, Toyama, and Niigata was around $17.6 billion. In Ishikawa alone, over 114,000 structures, including houses, public buildings, and general infrastructure, were damaged. Sadly, the earthquake and resulting tsunami claimed over 300 lives. Earthquakes like this are common in Japan. Most occur along the east coast of Honshu, Japan's largest island, where the Pacific and Philippine sea plates subduct below the country. A similar earthquake occurred in June of 1964, when a 7.6 magnitude tremor struck near Niigata on Japan's western coast. Since then, nothing of that scale has occurred on the island's west coast until New Year's Day of 2024. If you're venturing around Shandong Province, China, chances are you'll pass through the Yantai railway station. The busy transport hub is a central terminus on the high-speed rail line. It opened in 1958 and received a major facelift in the mid-2000s. Then, in 2023, a freak storm nearly sent this station back to the 50s. It turned the archway over the station entrance into a high-powered wind tunnel. Watch as the wind sweeps people off their feet and carries away their bags. It would have claimed this mother-daughter duo if not for the bravery of two other travelers. Unfortunately, the only available space for cover was the narrow luggage area. The small space was only meant to hold people's bags, and as you can imagine, it filled up quickly as people tried to escape the storm. Thankfully, these guys weren't about to let this woman and her daughter get stuck outside. Local weather authorities issued a warning for heavy rain and powerful winds around 2:30 that afternoon. Meanwhile, thunderstorm gusts near the railway station measured between 7 and 9 on the Beaufort scale. For reference, the Beaufort scale ranges from 0 to 12, with 0 being relaxed and calm, and 12 being hurricane-force winds. Chengde, China, is a prefecture-level city in northwestern Hunan province. It's home to about 5.2 million people, many of whom live in small villages on the outskirts of the central city. On July 11th of 2024, one of those villages was nearly wiped away when a deluge of water and mud tore through the streets. CCTV cameras were rolling as things went from bad to worse in under 90 seconds. While our CCTV cameras rolled, cell phone footage offered a ground-level perspective on the same event. The water didn't relent for another 40 minutes. Afterward, the same cameras recorded what remained of the village. Either the owner of the white SUV moved their car, or the flood washed it away. Thankfully, first responders arrived moments after the water subsided and were able to rescue several people still trapped in their homes. After a thorough search, they determined that nobody was severely injured. Ironically, Chengde is home to the Chengde Poetry Wall, a 2-mile flood wall along the Yuan River. It holds the Guinness World Record for the longest wall with engraved art in the world. Unfortunately, these carvings weren't enough to save this tiny outskirt village. Moss Point, Mississippi is a coastal city in southern Jackson County. They're no stranger to severe weather, as much of the city was destroyed in August of 2005 when the east side of Hurricane Katrina came to town. But the city rebuilt, and the locals got on with their lives. Then, almost 20 years later, a powerful tornado dug up old, painful memories. On June 19th of 2023, an EF2 twister touched down around 3 p.m. This local man was sitting in his car when the weather suddenly turned. Unable to move, he decided to record the harrowing experience. Thankfully, our cameraman was okay after the storm moved past him. If you listen closely during the clip, you can hear when the wind shatters his window. According to reports, the Moss Point tornado hit wind speeds over 130 miles per hour. It tore a 2-mile path of destruction through town and damaged over 100 buildings. 1 year after the storm, Moss Point was still in recovery mode. Some homes have been rebuilt, while others are still a heap of debris. The Swat Valley is a mountainous district in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Pakistan. It's famous for its natural beauty, with tall, snow-capped mountains lining picturesque lakes and rivers. The views have turned the Swat Valley into a popular tourist attraction over the years. But those views aren't always so tourist-friendly. Sometimes they aren't very friendly at all. June to October of 2022 marked the height of Pakistan's monsoon season. Record-breaking heat waves between May and early June brought heavier rainfall than usual over the summer. The resulting flash floods claimed hundreds of lives and cost the country billions of dollars in damage. Footage from the Swat Valley is just a taste of how destructive the floods were.
Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah.
About 130 years ago, early settlers of these Swat Valley villages built the first homes along the Bishigram River. Ever since, locals have seen the water as an old friend. After 2022, many see it as a new enemy. It quickly overflowed as record-breaking rainfall battered the country. According to reports, Pakistan saw more than 6 times the 30-year average between July and October. According to the climate change minister, the floods impacted some 30 million people, or about 15% of Pakistan's population. Raging waters claimed over 1,700 lives and caused over $14 billion in damage. The minister ultimately called the floods a climate-induced humanitarian disaster of epic proportions. Churu, India is a large city in the desert region of Rajasthan. It's home to about 120,000 people who are used to large dust storms blocking out the sun. Most come off the Thar Desert on the border of western India and eastern Pakistan. On April 7th of 2019, a freak storm surprised the whole city as a massive cloud of dust and sand turned day into night. Several locals kept their cell phones rolling and recorded the storm as it blocked out the sun.
Kailan ka pa? Ang mariga ke? देखिए रात दिन में आया कि थे और भी देखिए कि पहली बार देख रहे हूँ रात होगी दिन में.
Thankfully, dust storms like these aren't life-threatening, assuming you're not trying to drive or fly through one. As long as you can get inside, you should be okay. If anything, it may be difficult to breathe and you could develop a scratch in your throat. Some locals called this storm a tsunami of dust or an apocalyptic event. Thankfully, it blew over minutes later and was followed by rain to wash all the sand away. When it comes to Mother Nature's fury, East Asia knows it all too well. Wet climates and frequent earthquakes make places like Tianshan, China, highly susceptible to rock slides, landslides, and flash floods. The county-level city in southwestern Anhui province is home to 440,000 people. Two of them witnessed Mother Nature's fury firsthand on May 27th of 2024, when they noticed small rocks rolling down a mountain. They'd lived in the area long enough to know what was coming.
在视频中国片喽。哎呀，往左让高着啊啊！整个上哭下来喽，整个上哭下来喽。在提升视频中我晓得，就我晓得哟，就我晓得，不是我只会这出大事个啥？啊，出大事哎。
The road signs in the video translate to landslide, reduce speed. Officers put them there after small debris pockets fell from the mountain and landed on the road. Maintenance workers with the Highway Center of Tianshan City's Transportation Bureau also stopped cars from passing through the landslide area. Thanks to their swift action, nobody was hurt when the mountain finally collapsed. For Jyoti and Rakesh, May 11th of 2023 was supposed to be the happiest day of their lives. It was their wedding day, and all of their friends and family had come to celebrate in their village in Madhya Pradesh. Things were off to a great start. Music was playing, people were smiling, the sun was shining on their beautiful mandap, which is basically the altar at an Indian wedding. Then, without warning, Mother Nature sent a powerful dust devil their way. In the movies, the pastor will say, if anyone objects to this union, yada yada yada, you know how it goes. This was like that, only instead of an ex-boyfriend coming to win back the girl of his dreams, Mother Nature appeared in the form of a giant dust devil. According to attendees, the tent flew about 200 feet into the air before crashing nearby. Unfortunately, it landed on some electrical wires, disrupting the wedding's power supply. Things went from bad to worse when the bride's brother informed her that the dust devil had ruined all the wedding food. Thankfully, they were able to buy rice and noodles from a nearby market, and the celebration continued. Door-to-door sales isn't an easy job. You never know who or what you're going to run into. Thankfully, most of these on-foot salespeople only have to worry about folks slamming doors in their faces. Tornadoes are usually the last thing on their mind. On June 22nd of 2023, an alarm salesman in Highland Ranch, Colorado, was canvassing an upscale neighborhood when the sky turned an ominous shade of green above his head. The next thing he knew, he was ducking for cover on someone's porch as a tornado ripped apart every lawn in sight.
Yo, there's a tornado forming in front of me. Holy Yo! Yo! Holy Yo!
Thankfully, our salesman wasn't injured during the tornado. In his own words, I walked away unharmed and continued to knock on doors like an epic, mysterious hustler. Maybe a few of these locals needed a new alarm system after the storm. Our salesman was lucky the tornado was only a weak EF1. Any faster, and it could have ripped him clean off that porch. Elsewhere in Highland Ranch, the twister uprooted 16,000 trees, causing extensive damage to people's gardens and bird baths. As the Denver Post put it, the soundtrack of summer included chainsaws and wood chippers. Yingkou, China is a prefecture-level city in Liaoning province. It's home to roughly 2.3 million people who enjoy the beautiful views of the Liaoning Bay. But those views were ruined on August 16th of 2019 when a rare Chinese tornado touched down on the horizon. Multiple cell phone cameras around Yingkou captured the storm as it tore through the city. Watch as it flattens trees, picks up debris, and leaves people wishing they'd parked their cars someplace else.
完了！我操，这是直接干倒！
慢，我给录了，哎呦我的天，来，不看，这弯吗？
Once the storm passed, residents could finally inspect the damage. Look at how it obliterated this woman's rear window and ripped out her brake light. There wasn't a tree left standing, and several windows in the apartment building across the street were also blown out. It's hard to find any reports about this storm online, so it's unclear how much damage it caused or if anybody was injured. While tornadoes like this are rare in China, it doesn't mean they never happen. Chengdu, China is a prefecture-level city in Sichuan province. For the millions of people living there, powerful wind and rain storms are just another casual afternoon. That said, a lifetime of wild storms couldn't have prepared them for what happened on July 13th of 2017. Several locals kept their cell phone cameras rolling as howling winds and relentless rain ruined everybody's day. They learned pretty quickly that just because you're inside doesn't mean you're safe. Not everyone in Chengdu was screaming and running for cover. Take this guy who turned the dying storm into an outdoor shower. Now the rain may have stopped, but its effects were long-lasting. Watch as people walk barefoot through the flooded streets. One guy comes through on a scooter resembling a jet ski in the murky water. Others weren't so lucky, as rain flooded underground roads and parking areas. Hopefully, they had decent flood insurance on those cars. As they say, things are always darkest before the dawn. The storm finally passed, leaving a beautiful double rainbow over the city. Rock Hill, South Carolina is the largest city in York County by population. It's home to about 74,000 people living roughly 25 miles outside of Charlotte. On April 20th of 2024, all of Rock Hill ran for cover when the sky began dropping softball-sized hail on their homes and cars. Some people thought it was a tornado. Others thought it was a strong thunderstorm. Nobody was prepared when these hailstones came through like a buzzsaw, shredding everything in sight. This poor guy's car never stood a chance.
The windows all cracked up. Yeah, nothing to do, man. Nothing to do. My windshield pop. Yeah, it was just cracked all the pieces. That is insane. Looks like golf balls everywhere. Totally shattered the window. Oh, wow. I guarantee that's a tornado came through. The way it was going sideways.
According to reports, 90-mile-per-hour winds blew hailstones all over the city. The storm spanned about 22 miles from the city of York to I-77. Residents of Rock Hill found themselves caught in the middle. In some areas, hailstones measured up to 4 inches in diameter, making them the largest to fall in South Carolina in 13 years. There were so many that, if you didn't know any better, you might think it snowed overnight. Thankfully, only a few people suffered very minor injuries during the storm. Early estimates put the property damage at around $5 million. One spokesperson described that figure as an evolving number that was likely to grow over time. If you enjoyed this video and want to see another just like it, be sure to click the link on screen now. With that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.